Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. When Zhou saw the balance of his merit points decreased from more than 100,000 to 1,800, he felt his heart ache. A frightening idea appeared unbidden in his mind at this moment. How great would it be if the 7 great sects came and attacked the mountain again? He quickly shook his head, dismissing the idea as soon as it appeared. He did not have the means to repel them if they showed up again. His extraordinary power had not even been fully replenished yet, at the moment. If he were to fight, he reckoned he could not even defeat Zhu Honggong, old 8th, now. Zhou had displayed his 9-leaf golden lotus avatar in front of the 7 great sections. Anyone who had a working brain would not recklessly provoke the evil sky pavilion before they were powerful enough. Equip, Zhou thought to himself. The 100 Tribulations Insight avatar dissolved into spots of starlight that swirled around him before they quickly merged with his body. He felt a sudden surge of power entering his Dantian Sea of Qi. His weak Dantian Sea of Qi was filled to the brim by this tidal wave of power. Shortly after, he could clearly feel his 10 Worlds avatar being replaced by the 100 Tribulations Insight avatar. At this moment, primal Qi surged around the Eastern Pavilion. The others at the Evil Sky Pavilion, naturally, sensed this unique disturbance. Inside the Southern Pavilion, Pan Litian, who was reclining on a wooden chair while lazing in the sun, listened to Lang Luo as he bragged. He shook his head and said, "Although I've not seen it with my own eyes, I clearly heard the sounds of the battle that night." "I believe you." Lang Luo chuckled and said, "Old Pan, what do you mean you believe me? I'm telling you the truth. I'm not exaggerating at all. You old thing, do you regret not being able to witness such a scene?" Pan Litian did not retort, which was unlike him. Truth be told, Pan Zhong had told him about the strange things he saw the night before. There was no one who did not want to see a 9-leaf cultivator in action. Alas, he was recuperating and lost the chance to see the 9-leaf pavilion master. Could he possibly head to the Eastern Pavilion and request the pavilion master to demonstrate it for him? Of course not. Lang Luo said, "Looks like the truth of the great limit has been shattered. I consider myself fortunate for living in a time where this happened." "I feel the same," Pan Litian sighed and said, "I thought that I'd loiter around and spend the rest of my days living an ordinary life. To think that I lived to see this day. Interesting." As the two of them conversed, the intense disturbance from the Eastern Pavilion finally reached them. Lang Luo and Pan Litian looked over at the same time, unsurprised. They were already used to such unique disturbances here. The pavilion master is trying out some new techniques again. Pan Litian shook his head. Perhaps, the real method of attaining the 9-leaf stage is in the pavilion master's hands. Their eyes brightened at once. They were both 8-leaf elites. Prior to this, they did not think about attaining the 9-leaf stage at all. They had thought that the 8-leaf stage was the peak for all cultivators. Now that it was proven it was possible to attain the 9-leaf stage, how could they not feel excited? The two of them exchanged a look and nodded in tacit understanding. Meanwhile, Zhou raised a palm. The 100 Tribulations Insight avatar appeared above his palm. He was experienced in this. He shrunk the avatar to the size of 2 fists, a feat that required much skill. This was his 100 Tribulations Insight avatar. It was standing on a golden lotus. However, there were no leaves. The golden lotus aside, if Zhou did not take a good look at it, he would have thought it was some low-rank avatar. Zhou raised his palm until the avatar was level with his face. The golden lotus under the avatar's feet was spinning. The next step would be for him to sprout new leaves. Zhou silently gauged his current nascent divinity tribulation realm's cultivation base. He could sprout leaves if he wanted to. Hence, he circulated his primal qi and sent it into the avatar. Golden rings of light appeared around the avatar and moved downward in layers upon layers. His power traveled downward along the radiant rings as well. It grew brighter in intensity. The surging of primal chi inside the eastern pavilion never stopped. At this moment, Zhu Honggong and Zhao Yu entered the eastern pavilion. Nascent divinity tribulation realm? Sprouting leaves? No way, the 10-leaf stage? Zhu Honggong was startled with a jump. No, this is the energy of the one leaf. Zhao Yu was also attempting to sprout leaves herself. Hence, she was very familiar with the energy and aura of the process. I won't fall for that. Let's go. Zhu Honggong laughed and pulled Zhao Yu out of the eastern pavilion. There was no point staying in the eastern pavilion. Their master was cultivating. If they disturbed him now, they were just looking for trouble. The energy that indicated the one-leaf stage and 100 tribulations insight were just a ploy to fool people. Zhu Honggong would not be fooled. Zhu Honggong was not the only one who had these thoughts. Almost everyone in the evil sky pavilion had similar thoughts. After all, they were already used to this. Even if Lu Zhou stood before them, activated his avatar, and told them it was truly a one-leaf nascent divinity avatar, nobody would believe or question him. Lu Zhou looked on as the shining rings moved downward. About an hour later, when the final ring of light faded away, Lu Zhou saw a plump and bright leaf appear on the golden lotus. He did it. Even if it was just a single leaf, Lu Zhou was extremely pleased and satisfied. From this moment on, he was a true one-leaf nascent divinity tribulation realm cultivator. After sprouting the leaf, Lu Zhou resumed his meditation of the heavenly writing scrolls. Early the next morning, Lu Zhou had barely opened his eyes when he heard someone calling out from outside. Master, fourth senior brother is back. Summon him here. Oh. Lu Zhou emerged from the eastern pavilion with his hands on his back and looked up at the Golden Court Mountain's barrier. Everything was as it should be. In fact, it was even more powerful compared to its former glorious days. He was already missing the peak trial card. What he would give to obtain another peak trial card. At this moment, Ming Shirin entered the eastern pavilion and fell to his knees immediately. Then, he prostrated himself on the ground as he said, "Greetings, master." Lu Zhou frowned when he saw Ming Shirin was about to follow in Zhu Honggong's footsteps and flattered him. He waved his hand and said, "That's enough. I genuinely wanted to worship you, master. I can't help myself." There is none who's not in awe of your 9-leaf stage, master, Ming Shirin said. Are you done? Lu Zhou looked at Ming Shirin. He wondered what was going through his fourth disciple's mind. If Ming Shirin had time to flatter him, he should be cultivating instead. Ming Shirin shook his head, no longer dared to continue. He tried to mimic his 8th junior brother but ended up looking like a fool instead. How come his master was not disgusted when his 8th junior brother did this? Where have you been these past couple of days? Lu Zhou asked. Ming Shirin quickly explained how he infiltrated the 7 great sects, followed Feng Qinghe, and killed him. When Lu Zhou heard this, he asked in confusion, "You killed Feng Qinghe?" "I was just lucky." Feng Qinghe burned his sea of qi and played dead. He sealed his Dantian sea of qi and crawled into the forest. However, he was already heavily wounded by you when I found him. That's how I managed to take him down. Ming Shirin said. The battle that night was too chaotic. It was only natural that there were stragglers. However, Lu Zhou did not expect Feng Qinghe managed to get away. With his 9-leaf avatar, he would have been able to sense any fluctuation of a slightly powerful primal qi. He had to admit, Feng Qinghe was truly cunning. Little Yuan, who had just arrived, chimed in, "Fourth senior brother, how did you manage to tail him? Did you use his tactic as well?" Ming Shirin. He cleared his throat and continued saying with a straight face, "Let's not dwell on the details." No matter the method Ming Shirin used to track Feng Qinghe and kill Feng Qinghe, there was no doubt he had done the evil sky pavilion a huge favor. Lu Zhou definitely would not pick on small flaws. He praised Ming Shirin. You've done well. Thank you for the kind words, master. I have another thing to report, Ming Shirin said. Let's hear it. After killing Feng Qinghe, I ran into an old lady. Ming Shirin described the looks of the old woman he met in the valley and told Lu Zhou everything he knew. After recounting his experience, he said, that old lady is Feng Qinghe's helper. She wanted to kill me, but fortunately, I was smart enough to mention your great name, master. She was too frightened to do anything after that. Although Ming Shirin's words were slightly exaggerated, based how his description of the old woman's stooped figure, skill in manipulating the expansive heavenly energy, being Feng Qinghe's helper, unfathomable cultivation base, and living in seclusion, Lu Zhou deduced she was once the proud daughter of the heavens who once was renowned among the Confucian sections. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and calmly said her name, Zhou Yushu. Who's Zhou Yushu? Ming Shirin scratched his head. At this moment, Lang Luo's voice rang from behind him. It's only natural that you've not heard of her. Zhou Yushu was a cultivation genius of the Confucian sects whose name shocked the heavens 500 years ago. She was said to have the highest possibility of being the first female saint of Great Yan. However, the Confucian sects wouldn't allow a female to learn its art. Zhou Yushu, headstrong as she was, broke off all relations with the Confucian sects. Ming Shirin scratched his head. He remembered the stern expression on the old woman's face and felt humbled. He thought that she had quite the temper to break off from the Confucian sections. Perhaps, things were more complicated than Lang Luo had let on. He asked in confusion, they'll only pass it down to males and not females? Lang Luo stepped forward and cupped his fists at Lu Zhou. Lu Zhou nodded in reply. Lang Luo looked at Ming Shirin and explained, since ancient times, the dynasties ruled the world with scholarly knowledge and martial strength. Education was monopolized. The civilians could only cultivate body tempering. If they're lucky, they can enter the mystic enlightening realm or the sense-condensing realm. If they wanted to reach greater heights, they had no choice but to join a sect and work their way up with their talents and efforts. Martial strength alone was not enough to determine the prosperity or demise of a nation. That was where academic institutions came into play. However, the institutions only took in male disciples. When the daughters of wealthy families wanted to learn as well, they could only hire private tutors. In this scenario, the males prospered while the females suffered. As time goes by, the Confucian and Taoist sects thrived, and political and military achievements were made possible. Lang Luo's words were similar to the information in Lu Zhou's memories. Although he did not expect this world to share similar ways with the ancient times back on Earth, compared to Earth, Great Yan was not so bad to the extent where males were held in much higher regard than females. Many sects revered female disciples in the cultivation world. How preposterous, Ming Shirin replied. 500 years ago, Zhou Yushu was highly accomplished in expansive heavenly energy. After breaking away from the Confucian sects, she went into seclusion, and nobody knew what happened to her. Based on Lang Luo's tone, it was clear he admired an expert like her. Ming Shirin said, well, we can ask her about what happened when she comes, right? She's coming here? Lang Luo was clearly shocked. Yes, she wants to stand up for the Zhensong branch's master, Feng Qinghe, Ming Shirin replied. If this were in the past, Lang Luo would have been worried on the pavilion master's behalf when he heard Zhou Yushu was planning to come to fight for Feng Qinghe. However, now that he had discovered the pavilion master was a 9-leaf elite, how could Zhou Yushu possibly be a match for the pavilion master? Therefore, he said, she overestimates her own capabilities. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and said, let's leave this matter aside for now. Why did you come here, Elder Lung? Lang Luo bowed and said, I'm here to ask about the method to attain the 9-leaf stage, Pavilion Master. The time had finally come. Lu Zhou had thought about this before. He asked, you want to attain the 9-leaf stage? Lang Luo said, the door is already before me. If I don't open it and take a peek, it'll surely be one of the biggest regrets of my life. There was no reason for an 8-leaf cultivator to not attempt to reach the 9-leaf stage. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and said, currently, there are 2 methods to attain the 9-leaf stage that are spreading in the cultivation world. One is to sever your golden lotus and sprout leaves again. This is doable. Lang Luo looked at Lu Zhou. Mingxian had a shocked expression on his face. When he was fishing for information outside previously, he had learned that many cultivators who severed their golden lotuses managed to survive. However, he had never heard of anyone being able to sprout leaves after severing their golden lotuses. If it was truly possible to sprout leaves again, it would bring a revolutionary change to the way people cultivated in the future. Why was his master so sure of this? Zhou continued to say, the second way is to choose not to form a golden lotus upon entering the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Both methods are viable cultivation paths that lead to the 9-leaf stage. Those who aren't at the nascent divinity stage can choose the first or second method. Those who are already in the nascent divinity realm can only choose the first method. Lang Luo asked, puzzled, did you choose the first method, Pavilion Master? He wondered when the Pavilion Master severed his golden lotus, and how he managed to sprout all 9 leaves in record time. I chose neither, Zhou said with a straight face. Lang Luo and Mingxian were perplexed. However, they did not dare to ask any more questions. Zhou continued to say, since all of you possess golden lotuses already, you can only choose the first method. Lang Luo was shocked. It seemed like severing his golden lotus was the only option available to him. However, the problem was making sure he survived the ordeal. He bowed and earnestly said, kindly advise me, Pavilion Master. In all sects, it was taboo to inquire about advanced cultivation methods or the secret arts like what Lang Luo was currently doing. Moreover, this was about the 9-leaf stage that everyone desperately wanted to attain. Lang Luo knew very well about this unspoken rule. Therefore, he was cautious with his words. He added, I do not covet nor have any designs on your position or power. If you're unwilling to reveal the way, Pavilion Master, I'll no longer speak about it. Zhou calmly said, it's nothing. Severing the golden lotus is only the beginning. I believe there'll be a more complete method in the near future. Lang Luo and Mingxian felt invigorated when they heard Zhou's words. Mingxian said, in that case, I should sever my golden lotus right away. It'd be such a waste to wait until I'm at the 8-leaf stage to sever it. Severing his golden lotus when he was at the 8-leaf stage and sprouting a leaf again was no different from him severing it while he was at the 4-leaf stage. Why should he not sever his golden lotus now? Zhou shook his head and said, that might not be the case. Those who are capable of attaining the 8-leaf stage possess greater control over their cultivation base and technique. They're more experienced as well. That'll work in their favor when they sprout leaves, probably at a much quicker pace compared to others. In fact, the elites might have other benefits as well after sprouting leaves again. I'm enlightened, Lang Luo said. Thank you for your teachings, Master. Ding. Instructed Mingxian. Reward, 500 merit points. Zhou was not surprised to hear this notification. Teaching the old age pavilion was his way of preparing for the future. After all, his true strength at the moment was only in the 1-leaf nascent divinity tribulation realm. With the advent of the golden lotus severing era, there would surely be ripples across the cultivation world. There were also other tribesmen who eyed great yen like a prey. The evil sky pavilion had to be strong enough. In truth, Zhou knew a third method to attain the 9-leaf stage, and that was to attain it through the conventional way. However, that would take too much of a person's life. It was also not completely verified and was not suitable for the others in the evil sky pavilion. Hence, there was no need to explain this to them. If there's nothing else, we'll leave it at that. I'll take my leave, Lang Luo said. I'll take my leave as well, Master, Mingxian said. After the duo left, Zhou returned to his room and continued to meditate on the heavenly writing scrolls. Without any peak trial cards on hand, he could only rely on the heavenly writing scrolls now. Before he meditated, Zhou checked his remaining merit points on the dashboard. He had 2,300 points left. Was there a point in saving them? Lucky draw. Ding. Spent 50 merit points and 20 luck points. Obtained, Disguise Card X5. Disguise Card, you can use this card to disguise your avatar as a 9-leaf avatar. Lasts for 10 seconds. The appearance of a new card was a welcome surprise. However, when Zhou read the disguise card's description, he found that it was quite useless. Was the system encouraging him to deceive others? Well, it's better than nothing. Lucky draw. Ding. Spent 50 merit points. Obtained reversal card x10. I'm lucky today. Could it be that my luck has improved since I just entered the nascent divinity tribulation realm? Lucky draw. Ding. Spent 50 merit points. Thank you for your participation. Zhou continued to try his luck. He spent all his remaining merit points on lucky draws and no longer got any prize. Currently, he had 44 luck points. He did not have many merit points to begin with. Now that they were all spent, he would not spare any thought on them. Zhou checked the item column after the lucky draws. The item cards now cost 500 points more. This much was expected. However, there was a new addition to the choices on sale. Disguise card, 10,000 merit points. Rubbish among rubbish. Zhou firmly believed that the system's logic was flawed. The Deadly Strike card merely cost 4,000 merit points. Who would spend 10,000 merit points to purchase a disguise card just to fool another person? Unless, of course, the buyer himself was a fool. He looked at the avatar column. 1,000 boundary swirl, 500,000 merit points. Note, 9-leaf avatar required for purchase. This avatar can also be obtained through cultivation. Golden lotus leaf, 50,000 merit points. Note, only applicable for the 8-leaf stage and below. Leaves can be sprouted through cultivation. 1 leaf added with each use.